everybody want to know about your boy.
Bobby.
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 That's when the trailer came out, I was like, man, where Bobby at? Bobby's portrayal in this movie had me dying, man, because now there's young Bobby and Whitney, fresh in love, man. The dude who plays him is Ashton Sanders, man. He's from Moonlight. But the only thing that had me laughing, I don't know if you saw this, boy, they made sure to emphasize that gap.
Oh, they sure did.
Like he's on stage, like, thank y'all for coming to the award show. I don't remember what year this is, but I was so in love with this person you'd think I would know. Or maybe that's how in love I was with her, man. I didn't even know what year it was.
Right.
Yes. I mean, and listen, I didn't mean to stop it on that frame right there. I really did not, but
sure.
Hey,
right.
But it don't hurt.
Yeah, right. No, nobody's going to complain.
Yes. You know what? We would remember that ass if it weren't for that voice. Mm-hmm. Whitney Houston. Damn. Y'all know that song right there. You know the voice, you know the song. Of course, this is Whitney Houston, and that's her big hit. Now I don't know if that was her first hit.
I don't remember if that was. I feel like she had something else slower.
I feel like she had something else too. But hey, you know this was a huge one. I want to dance with somebody. Hit it. Good job too, sir.
Thanks.
Shit, you were about 3 decades too late, man. You should have been in that video.
I know, yeah. I was definitely singing in the movie theater, though.
Yeah, wasn't nobody else in there.
I know. That's why I was doing it.
I mean, I was in the theater by myself, and I was up there dancing and shit. Yeah. Why not? It's my theater now. Yeah, I went to go see this movie. No one was in there. For this movie, I Want to Dance with Somebody. Of course, this is about the lovely Whitney Houston, and also the tragic life of Whitney Houston. Mega star. They call the voice of her generation. And, you know, sometimes those titles, goddamn. That old jitterbug is gone right there.
Oh, yeah. He's like, it's my moment to shine.
Yeah.
They're going to forget all about her voice when they watch me move my legs.
Boy, you know Whitney Houston, after it was done, she said, fire that man.
You ain't seen him ever again.
Get him out of here. Upstaging me. But, hey, listen, sometimes people, they use those terms loosely, man, but she really was the voice of the generation. America's princess, the voice of the generation. She could back it up because what was her big record that she beat the Beatles? She beat the Beatles records by having 7 consecutive #1 hits. I think she beat a record by Michael Jackson, too. I don't know what it was.
They tied.
They tied.
The most wins.
The most wins, so they tied. And yeah, ain't nobody gonna beat Michael Jackson. I'd be mad as hell if she did that, man. I mean, I'm in love with her, man. But you can't do the king like that. Also,
the Eagles' greatest hit sold more than Thriller.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Michael Jackson beat that.
No, that was the thing. He had the record for so long, and then the Eagles' greatest hits end up edging it out.
We've got to bring Michael back. One way or another.
Michael!
Get some of his DNA.
Yeah, we got to clone him and Frankenstein. Could you see a corpse get up dancing? It's alive!
Like, oh no, send it back. Corey, what have you done?
It's alive! Woo! It's alive! But, she also, the only female black artist to have 3 diamond albums.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So amazing career that she had. It's only a matter of time before a biopic was going to be made about her because of her career. Some people saying, what took so long? I mean, to this day, people still love her. And that's where we are right now, where we have I Want to Dance with Somebody, the official biopic of Whitney Houston, unless you count the BET version. That was
Is there one?
Whitney and Bobby.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, we've heard the story of Whitney Houston, you know, her rise to fame, the legend that she became, and also her tragic downfall as she lost her battle with drug addiction. But how does that affect the movie right here? You know, like I said, biopics are a regular thing now. So can the story is Whitney exceptional enough to stand out from all the other Hollywood biopics that are out there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer, which you've seen before, but we're going to watch again for I Want to Dance with Somebody, and we'll be back with our review.
Common criticism of you, your music isn't black enough.
Well, who said that? That's just bull. And it makes me angry, actually.
Boy, Whitney about to whoop your ass.
Well, that was a bullshit thing to say to somebody too.
That really was.
I was like I was in that moment thinking that was me and somebody saying that to me, and just like, wow. I like turn into Mike Tyson on that. Like, I don't hear nobody saying that but you.
Yeah, because I mean, I wish because if this had been my movie, because you know biopics they take liberties. Mm-hmm. I would have had her jump across that desk and beat his ass. You would have seen him thrown through a window.
Take a shoe off.
Yeah. Whitney just picking him up. Ah! But yeah, that's one of the scenes in the movie where she's being criticized for not being black enough. And that dude was an asshole about it. Yeah. Oh, you gonna get up and walk out now, huh? She's like, God damn, why am I being attacked?
The best feeling I ever knew.
So this is the story when Whitney did get her rise to stardom by filling in for her mother. If you can tell by the trailer, her mother, who you might remember last seeing. The last thing I saw her in was Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, Tamara
Tooney, the woman who plays her mother.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she's in a lot of things for years. Mm-hmm. Tamara Tooney, but she Sissy Houston. You know, she filled in for her mother, for those who didn't know. So that's something cool about the biopic, you know, for anybody who thinks they know Whitney Houston, which I honestly did not know a lot, I'll tell you that right now. Did not know that's how she got her start, by filling in for her mother. If that is even what happened, like I said, it's a biopic, so you don't know what was played up and what wasn't. But I'll tell you this. So I'll be honest with you, because I normally don't like to criticize biopics for this one particular thing that I'm about to mention, and that is characters are actors not looking like the people that they're portraying.
No.
Naomi Ackie plays Whitney here, and she don't look nothing like Whitney at all, and I could just not wrap my mind around that. I just could not see Whitney Houston, even because she's not singing in the movie for another thing, you know, and ain't nobody gonna hold that against you. Can't nobody sing like Whitney.
No, yeah.
Shit, I mean, you know, if they ask you to do that, you turn your ass right back around and leave. But you have her in scenes where she's mimicking Whitney. It looks like to me in all the pivotal scenes of her singing. Of course, since this is a biopic, they're gonna put in all the greatest moments, like when she did the national anthem at the Super Bowl. As I said, you ain't gonna sing like Whitney, so don't even try. So they have her mimic all her moves. There's even videos out there where they do a side by side where they show Whitney singing and then they show Naomi singing, and those things right there were just kind of like, all right, I don't see Whitney for that reason either. However, you know, taking that aside, the actress Naomi Ackie is actually very good. You know, when she has to do, you know, the dramatic roles and the non-singing roles, she's actually, you know, she's a very good actress. So me criticizing her not looking like Whitney or not being able to see Whitney is maybe it's because of the way they did the movie, or maybe it's because Whitney is just such a large legendary figure that I just could not see it. I mean, who's going to match up to Whitney Houston? So that, you know, whether that be a flaw or just not being able to be Whitney, you know, just no one maybe can do it. But I just didn't see Whitney there.
I had no problem making that translation.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't bother me, but like I said, that's just myself. I just did not see Whitney at all, and it kind of took me out the movie. But as far as the actress and all the other people, she was very good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, she did great.
No, she did awesome. What go ahead. What do you mean? You obviously thought she was very good, and you saw Whitney.
Yeah. Because you know, sometimes because what she did, sometimes, you know, with these biopics, the actor comes across as doing an impression the whole time, and I didn't get that. I thought she kept it very natural. It was laid back and it was her, but it still was enough for me to see her as Whitney the entire time.
One of the things they did do is because somebody asked, I saw this in the chat, did they talk about her lesbian lover? Yeah, listen, they didn't go as deep as they could with it, probably.
But
But
I wondered when it started. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're even going to touch on this. You know, they'll probably dance around it and kind of hint, and they just jump right into it. Like, nope, here it
Yeah.
is right there.
I appreciate them bringing it up, and they had to because people were going to say, now, you just going to act like nothing happened. They didn't. I thought they could have played up their lesbian relationship more. I think they went in and handled that as, very gently. I think they handled that the way they did because they didn't want to.
Really, because they had them together for a good while.
Yeah, they never had them. You could tell they were lovers, but they never kissed.
They never really did
They
anything.
never embraced anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's because.
Except that one boat ride.
Except that one boat, but by that point they weren't even together.
Yeah,
They
they
were
was sleeping with somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. They do touch on. And let me see. That was a thing. People talking about Whitney a lesbian because I remember that back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Now I will say that. Let me see here because it was. I should have brought this up earlier. Was Whitney Houston's lesbian lover? So yeah. Now if you want to know if they brought it up, yes. Yes, they did. And there were always images out there. In fact, they make sure that they mention that because there are too many images out there. Her father's like, look at these pictures here of you out there with that girl. They're everywhere. Yeah, so it was, they brought it up and they were very they were very forward with it. Now, I do believe that they just kind of, and I felt this, that they just didn't push it because if they're lesbians, I'm kissing at one point. I don't want to see him in bed, making scissors and shit. I don't want to see all that. But, because it's a movie. I guess it's a family movie, but I think they shied away from it because they're trying to gear this towards a black audience. They think that black women especially are not going to want to see that or that's going to scare them away. So I thought wow, y'all really kind of punked out on that in a way. But again, that's not the highlight of the movie. They did address it. I do think they could have pushed that further. Like if you have a lesbian relationship, at least show them kissing. But it is right. They got right in each other's face, like, that's all right. But that was a great question, and they do put it in there. How you take it, what you're looking for. Some people just want to see a Whitney Houston story. That's fine. It's not going to bother them like it bothered me. But like I said, people are very good in here. It's like you said, man. I thought she was very good. I'm not looking at her to be, Whitney Houston. Mm-hmm. Can you act in dramatic parts?
Right.
Yeah, she did. And Naomi Ackie's very good, man. She's so good. I'm actually. Maybe this movie I'm not satisfied with what they did here with her, but she is very good, and I want to see what else she can do. One of the things that she did capture with Whitney Houston is that Whitney Houston commands the screen. When she had to do that, she did it. Mm-hmm. When she was on stage, it's like, all right, maybe I don't say it's Whitney, but if she was any other singer, I'd be like, yeah, but you're doing what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I like that. Of course, everybody want to know about your boy.
Bobby.
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 That's when the trailer came out, I was like, man, where Bobby at? It was almost like a Marvel movie. They're looking for a certain superhero villain. It was like, man, where Bobby at? Yeah, man, Bobby's portrayal in this movie had me dying, man, because now there's young Bobby and Whitney, fresh in love, man. The dude who plays him is Ashton Sanders, man. He's from Moonlight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of things.
Yeah, and he man, listen, he was good as Bobby, but the only thing that had me laughing, I don't know if you saw this, boy, they made sure to emphasize that gap.
Oh, they sure did.
Like he's on stage, like, thank y'all for coming to the award show. Boy, that gap, I said, man, they must have paid a lot of money for that, for them teeth.
Oh, man. All it is just a black paint in the because from a distance I was like, because I was wondering that too. I was like, yeah, they make special dentures for him or anything, but there was a close up on him, and I was like, oh, I can see that's a black paint stripe.
Yeah, yeah, boy. Every time he smiled, they made sure. I'm like, damn, that gap is another character in the movie. Shit, that's the biggest special effect in the film. But he was good, man. And somebody said he plays the RZA too. I'm like, you know what? This actor has really come a long way. I looked him up too, and I saw other stuff that he's done that I hadn't seen. But again, very good, man. And there's moments between him and Whitney when this gets. I don't know if it's because of Bobby Brown or the way he played it, or a combination of both. But man, damn, Bobby was just he was wrong. He just dirty.
Yeah, dirty. Yeah,
Dirty.
That's the word I was looking for.
Bobby just dirty, man. I mean, normally I say, man, I don't trust these movies right here, but boy, they made your ass look bad, and I believe every bit of it.
Well, that's the thing. Part of me was like, well, I don't know. They trying to make him look bad. But it's like, I feel like they could have made him look a lot worse, which makes it feel real. It feels like y'all are pulling back.
Yeah, I believe that, because man, the shit that he was doing, and I was like, yeah, man, this I like these scenes, boy, because of what's coming out about him, man. But yeah, the actor who portrayed him, he did a very good job at this, man. I would tell you though that I think my favorite person in the movie, because everybody's good in the film, but I think my favorite person in the movie was Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mine too. Yeah.
Well, just one of the things that I liked about, at least with his character, I mean, Stanley Tucci, he's a veteran actor.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of role he's done like in his spare time. He's done a lot of these, but he does it really well. But it's one of those where normally with a biopic, you got a manager like this, and they are the bad guy or the person holding them back or stealing their money. And this guy was just supportive the whole time. So every time he was on, you just liked him. You're like,
you root for him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how about we just have the two of them and forget everything else?
Well, you make a great point. I didn't even think about that. Like, he's not the villain.
Yeah.
And some movies have actually taken like producers who have done nothing.
Right.
I mean, there's two movies, and I forgot the producer's name, but one of those movies, they make him out to be a complete asshole. And the next movie, he's actually the hero. It was the dude that was in, I think he was in Bohemian Rhapsody. And was he in the Elton John movie?
Yeah,
I forgot the producer's name, but I was like, now how y'all gonna do this here? Which one is he? Because somebody lying.
Yeah.
But Stanley Tucci, he plays legendary record executive, producer, lawyer, Clive Davis, and there he is with Whitney Houston. They both had a really tight friendship. That I do know. Damn, that don't even look real. Right? If she had a wax museum with Clive Davis, Clive Davis, who's still alive, by the way. But the reason why I enjoyed Stanley Tucci is because these biopics, even when the actors are great, everything is played up for drama's sake. Stanley Tucci, who you're right, Stanley Tucci been in the game for years, man. He just, I mean, if you're gonna pick somebody who's a professional, has it down in their sleep, Stanley Tucci's the guy. But Stanley Tucci, everybody felt like they were actors in a biopic. I'm not saying that's bad, but I mean, listen, you can't avoid it. Everybody has those big dramatic parts. Stanley Tucci never had a huge dramatic part.
Right.
Stanley Tucci felt like a real person in this sea of biopicness.
I don't feel that they're allowing you to sing strongly enough. This is Dolly Parton.
Sorry about that. Let me roll it down to 7.
The Tucci Coochie, man. Now he was great in this, man. Every moment that he was on screen, I felt like I was kind of watching a different movie sometimes because he felt so natural. I mean, even when he was talking to her, I was like, man, I don't even see Stanley Tucci right. I see just a real guy.
Right.
Yeah, I loved him in this, man. I'll tell you the things I really like the most besides Stanley Tucci. We're gonna get into some of y'all's opinions right here. Is that I like that they did not exploit Whitney Houston's tragedy, man, for entertainment here.
Yeah.
They don't exploit her tragedy, as being the big selling points of the film. They actually try to end this movie on a high note. They try to celebrate her more than they actually do a straightforward biopic here. And believe me, we've seen, and I'm glad they did that because they've done that enough.
Yes.
That's why I'm talking about that BET. What was it called?
Whitney and Bobby.
Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston's tragic, crazy romantic affair, or whatever.
Oh, what?
You have disrespected me over and over again. You have embarrassed me. You tell me every chance you get, nobody controls Whitney.
God, they didn't even try to get somebody like Bobby
No,
Brown.
hell no.
Like either one of them.
That's why I was like, that's Bobby and Whitney.
If you hadn't said that's who it was, I'd be like, all right, I don't know what drama this is.
You would think this is a Tyler Perry movie.
Right.
Whitney, that's right. That was my Papa Rooney, your career. Do you remember?
I've seen more convincing Bobby and Whitney's on Halloween than I have here.
Walk down Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, I was like, God damn, y'all didn't even try. But that's BET. You know, BET gonna do what they do, man. But man, do you remember they had that reality show?
Yes, which
Whitney?
I was wondering, like, are they going to touch on the reality show?
No, they didn't.
Thankfully, they didn't.
I wanted them to because I was like, wow, talk about that. Like, how did you get yourself into this? But also, you know, again, talk about being exploited. This is how bad Whitney was at the time, man. And I hate to say it, I'm not trying to bring up her addiction and a drug problem as a point of comedy right here. But I mean, when they did these shows, she looked high. Yeah. Sometimes, which made me think like, man, y'all should have been doing something instead of filming this shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, there are moments where it's like, she's fucked up right now.
He said, hell to the no.
The dog is like, I don't want nothing to do with this shit. You said dog. That dog like, man, cut that camera off.
That camera off me.
I don't want to be filmed, y'all. Leave me out of this.
I know, I hope so. What were you talking about in the babies?
It's like, God damn, man. I remember, I never watched the show. I watched clips and I was just like, man, y'all watching the demise of somebody right here. I mean, people should have looked at that and knew. And people, I guess, did try to help her, but shit.
I mean, if you try to help somebody and they do nothing but refuse, you still don't have to take advantage of them, though. I mean, really, I'm sorry. There's no defense of that.
Wow, that's a great way of putting that, man. But I would have liked them to talk about this in the movie. But I mean, that was enough to cover. Again, they're not trying to. I just would have liked them just to say something like, "You doing what? Why are you doing this? Why are you letting this man bring you into this?" But yeah, not a big point. But that's not even the point of what I'm saying here. It's just that we've seen them be exploited enough. The movie didn't go this far,
right?
And until your point, like they've been exploited enough that we didn't need to have it in the movie. Really, if you want to get right down to it, they mostly celebrate her talent, man. Like I said, and they really do go in and intentionally glorify some of her brightest spots. It's some good moments in there, man.
Well, do you know who's doing the singing?
Whitney Houston.
Oh, it is?
It's not her. It's not.
No, I know.
I think she's I think that's Whitney Houston singing.
Okay,
she's syncing to it.
Okay, it sounded like a little different.
Yeah, because I did look it up just to make sure.
Yeah.
And it said, because I looked it up, I said, who does the singing? And I'm gonna dance with somebody. It said Whitney, fool.
Okay, all right.
Of course, they got to bring in some of the tragic moments too, and some of these things you see in a lot of these biopics. You don't have the manager or the producer that's coming in and taking the money, but you do have the dad that's coming in and taking the money, which that dude had me laughing.
I love Clark Peters and everything.
Yeah, he was just in the last thing we saw him in. The last thing I remember seeing him in is the
Spike Lee movie,
the Five Bloods.
The Five Bloods.
Yeah, this guy's hilarious. I love him, man. And I mean, in this movie, they play him up as a straight up villain, like. He's cheating on the mom and doing that shit where you bust in. He's in his office with the secretary. Excuse me for a moment. Don't even try to get off me here. Like my nose ass daughter. Hey, yeah, I'm fucking this chick.
And then later he's in a club smoking a cigar with a bunch of white dudes.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah, he has some great lines, and delivered them great, like the lesbian lover. Who I think what is it? Is it Nafisa Williams that plays the? I
think so.
Yeah, she when she comes in and the husband or the father, Whitney's father, John Houston, he looks at her and says, "Now if you're gonna be with her, I need you to go out and start dating boys." She's like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "You don't ever have to ask me that again."
Yeah, I love that line.
That is a great line. Well, it's just funny because it's like, well, Daddy will approve of our relationship. It'll be all right. We talk to him.
Daddy said, hell no.
No, good. And he even dismisses it. Like, get on out there and date some boys. Go on now. Go.
You won't do it? That's what I thought. You ain't working for us.
You almost turned that lesbian around.
Yeah, you know, it's like, okay, I guess I'll go get a boy.
Go on now, get. Let me fuck my secretary in peace. We already told you Tamara Tooney, man, as the mom. She's really good. And when I'm talking about that, they don't come in and exploit her tragedy. They almost do it to a fault because, listen, nobody's trying to come in and make this the big point of the movie. We all know that she was on crack. We don't need to belabor the point. But damn, just out of nowhere, a crack pipe just popped up, and I was like, shit, we ain't gonna transition into this. we ain't gonna figure out where the rock came from and how she got on it.
Yeah,
it's just like it was just there one day.
That's one of my complaints in the movie.
Yeah, she just got stressed one day and said, "Where my rock at?" I was like, "All right, well, I guess we're here."
I know. We have no idea where she got it from. Nothing. It just happened. It's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, the pipe just magically appeared. Yeah, and I was like, man, you know, I know we want to celebrate a story, and we don't want to just harp on this point right here, but you got to transition. That's a big point right there.
Oh yeah. That's what I was thinking.
I will say that I do like. They do some really good things here, man. They like that whole thing of talking to that DJ and addressing people. Because this was a thing, and I didn't really even understand why. Maybe because I was just a open-minded, nerdy black-ass kid. But they were talking about how her music was considered not to be black enough. She wasn't black enough. She was too mainstream. And I like that they talked about that, man, because that's a point that they need to address with black people as a community anyway, how closed-minded we are to music, and sometimes to the point of being closed-minded to the music that we created. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing that for a long time, man. We allow ourselves to be mentally manipulated into turning on our own culture, our own background, our own history. And I'm glad they didn't go deep with it, but it was a good point to bring up in the movie. So there's outside of just Whitney's story, there's social issues they addressed that are very good, I thought. But yeah, I'll pass it on to you guys over here.
It's so much of what I like about this movie is what it doesn't do, and that we've seen so many biopics, especially lately, that are really sensational. They're all about a tortured genius, and they want to show you, well, this is the origin of how they got this and how they got this. And it was refreshing that this wasn't about that. It's like you said, it's more of a celebration of her, but it takes you through some important points in her life, but it seems to have a clear focus on what, or at least it knows what it wants to focus on. Even she didn't even have that rags to riches story of, well, had a dream and played little clubs. It was like, no, she benefited from nepotism, and it's right out there. And her getting her career off the ground, it wasn't relatively hard. But what was hard was keeping up the pace with it. To me, this actress really brought her to life, or just made me just fall in love with her to when it got to the tragic stuff. It was really heartbreaking. Yeah.
Damn, I'm a little indifferent than I guess both of y'all at this point.
Well, you might be surprised. Let me hear.
Yeah. So this comes from somebody that knows the name, doesn't know the story at all. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching this, and as the movie's proceeding, I'm feeling like this movie is like a checklist. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, she gets this song, check. This is we had to introduce her to crack, check. I just felt like a lot of this movie was just checking off points, and I just really wasn't messing with it that much. There's certain stuff where it's like I really wish they would have touched on this a little bit more, but they kind of just speed right by it, So I really wasn't a fan of. I mean, if I say it, it's gonna be a spoiler, but I just wasn't a fan of a lot of stuff they did in the movie, honestly.
Well, you know what? I actually, that's why I said you'd be surprised. I actually agree more with you than anything. Not that I'm trying to turn anybody against each other. Listen, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad for their opinion. Of course not. No, I think the movie's entertaining. Thing is, the reason why I think I feel like you, Julian, is because look, biopics are very much, the genre is very much the prepackaged food of cinema, which even when they're good, it's still a genre that hits all the same marks, in every movie.
Like, I feel like I still don't know Whitney, Like I just know like her high points. But like these movies, I want to know like what's her low points like? How did she get to these low points? And it's like the movie didn't really explain that enough to me.
Yeah, you know,
like I said, they just introduced the crack part. They just threw that in there.
Yeah, that's the problem with some of these biopics is that they're all so formulaic at this point. Even the ones that are entertaining, you know, they are just hitting the marks, or as you say, just the checklist.
Checklist.
And that's kind of what I felt about this one too. I mean, I really wanted this to be a little bit more, but it kind of did the trappings of all Hollywood biopics that are just anywhere from mediocre to just suitably entertaining, or just mildly entertaining. I think when you're doing a biopic, even when they're doing a decent job, if you're still not doing anything outside of the typical biopic, you know, you're not making something that's very memorable because they all follow the same pattern. Now, say what you will about Baz Luhrmann, and I mentioned Baz Luhrmann. If you don't know Baz Luhrmann's name, he was Moulin Rouge and whatnot. The reason why I bring him up is because he just did that Elvis movie, and y'all know how I feel about Elvis and everything. But some people even know how I feel about this director, just being very flashy with his cinematography and his art direction and whatnot. But I do have to say, for a biopic, that's what makes things stand out.
In that moment, I watched that skinny boy transform. He was my destiny.
You know, you could hear how they made The Rock more modern. Of course, he does all these crazy camera shots in the movie. He takes liberties to be more creative. I mean, some people might not like that, but today I almost think the only thing I think that's cool about that is that it stands out. You know, you walk away if not only making this memorable, but memorable because, okay, that's the signature of that director that did it, or this movie did something that stood outside the genre. And I think that's what's wrong with this movie right here for me. And I say wrong loosely here. It's just that I enjoyed this movie. I liked it. Like I said, it was suitable, but as a piece of entertainment. But did it leave an impact on me? No, not really. I'm not going to really remember this, which is sad for me because Whitney Houston is the greatest. If I was to give this, I give this like a slightly high rental.
This was the antithesis of Elvis, where me watching Elvis, I was like, fuck, this is so overblown and it's just abrasive to me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow. And then followed by Blonde. And I was like, these things where they're taking these people and they're either blowing them up to superheroes or they're exploiting them to a point. And I love that this didn't do either one of those, that it was pulled back. And it was focused on, hey, look, most of you are fans and you know this story and we're going to play it out, and it's like you're watching these performances again. It gave me all the feeling that I was supposed to get without really assaulting my senses, but left me with, wow, this is just what I wanted. And for its long running time, I didn't even feel it. Like when it was done, I was like, oh, that was a nice hour and a half. Oh, it was almost 2.5 hours. Wow, okay. And it's not a flashy movie. That is the thing about it. You know, if you're at a point where you're like, I crave more, I don't want the standard biopic, I get it. For me personally, this was a low full price.
Okay. What about you, boy?
So I'm
When
gonna
I
say
it
it
like that, I'm
I
sorry.
don't know. But I'm gonna say this. I was disappointed, man. I'll just say there's a lot of good things I liked about this movie. The characters, the performances they put on were amazing. Even how they showed that she didn't write her own music.
Yeah.
I was like, that's actually a big thing. Cause I was talking to a friend a while back, and he's a manager, and he even told me like a lot of these artists do not write their own music. You know what I'm saying? They're the talent, so they don't have to write it.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that they touched on that. But as the movie went along, I was just feeling like I'm just unsatisfied here. There's conflicts between her and her lesbian lover. I forgot her name in the movie.
Robin.
Yeah, but there's a conflict scene, and then after that, it's like, what happened? You know, and like next thing you know, they're back together again, and like they're friends again. But it's like, how did they get back together?
How they reconcile?
Yeah. I was like, they just kind of like next thing they're like, oh hey, you know. It's like,
well, you know what? I thought about that at the time, and I was like, you know, normally in something like this, people have that big blowout, like I can't, you know, somebody's dumping somebody, and that's like I walk away, and that's it. And I was like, well, this is actually more realistic that you could have that, but then eventually you're like, all right, well, we're still friends.
Yeah, they even did the same thing with Bobby Brown too. It was like how they split apart. And like, oh hey, great job, you know. So I was like, I really wish they would have just a couple more scenes in there to been like, hey, you know, we've got back together. We've we've reconciled, like you said.
I see what you're saying. It's not. It's very choppy in its timeline. It's not transitioning well to other things.
No, one thing I will say, if I had something that that I put a negative on, is that it's had the opposite problem that we normally complain about, and it shouldn't, is that normally when people get older, they do really bad makeup, and here they don't do any makeup.
Oh, no, she looks the same.
So decades go by, and everybody looks exactly the same. So that when it's later in the timeline, they do a flashback, it's hard to know. It's like, is this a flashback, or what's...
They just get a new kid or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's even huge points in her life, like the first time she did crack and stuff like that. No one knows how she got this crack. She just gets the crack, you know. I was just like, damn, I wish they would have shown us how she got that crack and how she actually got started into doing drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was a big miss for me, and that's kind of reason why I wanted to watch it, cause I was like, okay, I want to see how she actually got into this, and they didn't give me my answer.
Let's not let everybody's kind of more.
I know,
when did that crack come up?
And then there's some of the casting was kind of funny. You know how they had Oprah in the movie, so sometimes they would cast people, and then sometimes they wouldn't. They would just use their stock footage that they had. I was laughing at the Oprah one though. They just said fuck it.
No, they put in that was the real Oprah, right?
Yeah, that was the real one. Yeah, they just said fuck. We're not gonna cast nobody for Oprah. But yeah, like I said, very very disappointed with this, man. This was a straight rental for me. I'm not gonna lie. I think you can really wait for this one to hit HBO Max, wherever it's gonna go.
Almost, I wish it would have been like a Netflix series, like 7 episodes or something. I think that would have solved the problem of like those moments that you're talking about, where it's like, how did this flow into this?
Yeah, I
hate to say it, but you would get the crack episode.
Yeah, like I wish a lot of the storylines had big payoffs and they didn't.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't think it's lacking entertainment, but then again, like I said, Martin enjoyed it.
Because the whole thing of it being a TV series, I like, well, then that'd be like the Selena show, and that went on too long.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it has to be like Selena. You know, ain't nobody asked you to be like Selena.
The Quintanillas will be back after these messages.
Yeah.